The Detroit Lions potentially could be bringing in Malik Reed. And I don't have any confirmed reports on this just yet, but he is somebody of interest that does carry some veteran presence, some experience. And early off in his career, he actually had some really good games. Was able to get a lot of pressure and turn up a lot of sacks. So he is somebody that can do it. He is familiar with this scheme, being both at Denver, Pittsburgh, for the majority of his career, and Las Vegas Raiders this season. He's familiar with this type of scheme that the Lions are running. I do like what he brings to the table. He's a little bit smaller, compared to, some of the other guys out there, but he's almost right in that perfect range. I like to see defensive ends or, the outside linebackers be around 6'3", 265. And he's right around 6'2", 245. So he's a little bit on the smaller side, more of a James Houston, kind of a speed guy. And, when I talk about this report out of AZ Sports that I came across today, and Tom Pelissero. So Tom Pelissero reported that the Raiders were going to go ahead and waive the veteran edge in Malik Reed. That was about 12 o'clock this afternoon. And they started out and they said that he received a lump of coal kind of early for Christmas, which, it's kind of bad to be released before Christmas, but especially with a team that's, not really doing much this season. What are they going to do? What are the Raiders going to do by releasing this guy? Save a couple bucks? Come on, guys. But at any rate, hey, that's good for the Lions opportunities. And that's what I'm thinking about here, because if you go back and look at what transpired the last couple of days, the Lions had brought in Matthew Betts, and I'm going to pull up the information on him that I was just reading. So the Detroit Lions brought him in just a couple of days ago or yesterday. Interesting story on this kid, 28 years old, led the CFL with 18 sacks this past season, and was named the league's most outstanding defensive player. He was also named a CFL All-Star for the first time in his 5-year professional career. He's 6'3", 250 pounds as an edge rusher. He was originally a first pick of the Edmonton team in 2019 out of the Universitat Laval. So I'm not sure where that is. I don't know if that's a Canadian university or if it's, somewhere in Europe. But he had signed with the team after participating in their training camp with the Chicago Bears, where he made 1 tackle, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble as a CFL rookie. Long story short on this kid, high motor, knows how to work the edge well, but he's coming off a season already. So, when you're coming in the league after playing a whole season, how much gas does he have left in the tank? Maybe his motor just wasn't there. But he was highly touted, as a prospect coming out of U Sports, where he had won 2 Veneer Cups with the Rogator. I don't even know what that is. And won the JP Metris Trophy 3 times as the top down lineman in the country. He remained the only player to ever win the award 3 years in a row. So, the guy's just full, of trophies, right? He's got a bag full of receipts of his work. And the Lions didn't bring him in for no reason. They just didn't sign him. So doesn't mean that they can't go back and sign the kid. It's just they didn't, on day one that they brought him in. But that leads me to Malik Reed. And when I saw this morning that he was going to be waived, and after looking at some of his stats, I thought that he would be a good fit, not only from his production standpoint, but somebody that could fit in nicely within the scheme. The only caveat to this is he hasn't done squat this year. Neither did Bruce Irvin, right? Because Bruce Irvin didn't play. So there's something to be said there that, if he's not getting a lot of work, his legs got to be a little bit more fresh. Not getting the work also speaks to, maybe he's not in a good rhythm with things, but he can get into game shape, or maybe he's already in game shape, but he can get into this defense, get acclimated pretty quickly, I would think. And it serves another purpose. And let me talk about his stats first. And then I'm going to talk about why I think that it makes sense from a practice squad elevation perspective. So 2019, Malik Reed was, I believe, undrafted. Pretty positive he was undrafted, but he was signed to Denver as a left outside linebacker. Appeared in 15 games, started 8, 1 pass defense, 1 fumble recovery, 2 sacks, 27 combined tackles, 4 TFLs, 5 QB hits. Now 2020, this guy broke out and served 16 games, started 13, 1 pass defense, a forced fumble, 8 sacks, 53 combined tackles, 8 TFLs, but 17 QB hits. I don't think that there's anyone on this roster for the Lions right now that has really anything close to that. Maybe one or two guys. I mean, Aiden would probably be the only one that would probably be close. But I don't think anybody really is, that consistent over only 13 games. And then in 2021 with Denver, he was suited for 14 games, appeared in 13 as a starter, 2 more pass defense, 2 more forced fumbles, another fumble recovery, 5 more sacks, 43 more tackles, 3 TFLs, and 8 more quarterback hits. For some reason, he wasn't brought back to Denver, moved on to Pittsburgh. And I don't know the full story there. But he was up for 14 games, only saw 2 as a starter. But his numbers drastically reclined. I mean, he had, or declined, sorry. He had 2 passes defensed, 1 sack, 25 combined tackles, 1 TFL, and 4 quarterback hits. And then he was moved on again to the Las Vegas Raiders in 2023, where he pretty much has nothing going on. I mean, just a few tackles this season. But he's only been up for 4 games and started 2. It's a situation in Las Vegas where kind of a stacked area in that, linebacker room. We need to take into consideration some of these things. Now, why do I think it makes sense from a practice squad elevation perspective? And it's pretty simple. Bruce Irvin only has one elevation left. And then the Lions need to do something, either sign him to the 53 or they need to kind of just walk away and hope that he doesn't get poached. So if the Lions are considering bringing Bruce Irvin up again this weekend, which I haven't heard anything different, they're going to be out of elevations for the playoffs and for the rest of the season. And there is an opportunity there after what teams have seen out of Bruce Irvin in the limited amount of time that he's been in, that they might want somebody like that if they have room, at least to go into the postseason with, depending on the team. So I think it makes sense that the Lions are looking like they have been, and they're probably trying to add some more practice squad guys that they can call up and maybe save some of the other guys that they don't want to lose just yet. But maybe they're just kind of playing the 3 and out rule. We're going to bring you in, we're going to pay you, we're going to use you as much as we can, and then we're going to move on to the next guy. Tyson Alulu has not been elevated yet. Maybe he gets elevated this weekend. Who knows? The Lions need another pass rusher on the outside of Aiden. Someone that can help get home and create opportunities for the interior guys to work. So again, it makes sense. He's had some good history in his first 3 seasons, and he's pretty young. It's somebody that they could potentially work with. It's somebody that could potentially give the Lions maybe a little bit more flexibility with what they're doing as far as with Bruce Irvin or Alulu or Alu, and give themselves this opportunity to go deeper into the postseason with guys that are available. So that's why I wanted to bring him up. And then when I look at the roster, I don't see a lot of room on the 53 man. If you look at just the cornerback room alone, Khalil Dorsey's going nowhere. Gilmore, I mean, do you really want to take the opportunity for him to get poached? I don't think that the Lions want to do that. I mean, they haven't utilized him at all, really. So maybe they don't want to take that opportunity and put him down in the practice squad where someone's going to come and take him. Will Harris, I wouldn't be mad if he, got relegated to the practice squad. And I don't think that many teams are going to come looking for him, especially after this last weekend where we, saw the guys like Kendall Vildor, Khalil Dorsey really step up and make some incredible plays. Those are probably going to be our starters, moving forward. And we still have Jerry Jacobs, in that alternative role. And I think the Lions cornerback room is pretty solid at this point for the rest of the season. Unless something amazing happens and someone becomes available, I just don't see where the Lions can get much better at the cornerback or DB, position as a whole for the rest of the season. So moving down, looking at the defensive line, Isaiah Buggs, he's not going anywhere right now. Now with Lee McNeil out, Kaminsky, Charles Harris, Aiden Hutchinson, Benito Jones, Broderick Martin, Romeo and Julian Aquara, Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike. So unless someone suffers an injury, those guys are most likely going nowhere right now. There's really nowhere to put them that puts them in a good position to stay with the team. And I just don't see the Lions making that move. So there's just not much room on this roster. In the linebacker room, I already mentioned Julian, but you got Anthony Pittman, Jalen Reeves-Maben, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Anzalone, Trevor Nowaski. I mean, the Lions didn't want to lose him before. I doubt they're going to want to lose him now. So really, there's no one to move on from. They brought up Hendon Hooker. He's not going down. Teddy Bridgewater, obviously we need through the rest of the season, even though he's retiring, we still need him in case something happens to Jared Goff. They need some guys that they can elevate on game day to give them some different looks and to help with this pass rush. And I think that Malik Reed gives them that opportunity. Whether or not the Lions feel the same way, I don't know. But he is an option. Is he on the way, to do a practice with the Lions? We should find out here in the next 24 to 48 hours at most. And we'll see what happens. The Lions do need some help. So we're getting ready for the playoffs, and the Lions got a big game this weekend. I'm almost expecting that Bruce Irvin might get the call. And if he does, that leaves us in a hole. I'd hate to see that hole happen again, because the last 2 games that he's been in, the Lions defense played much better. I almost wish we would have had him for the Bears game. I wish they wouldn't have sat him for that game. Might have had a different outcome, but it is what it is now. Now we're looking forward, and to the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be a tough game, potentially. Could be a blowout. Who knows? They haven't scored many points in the last 2 games, but Jefferson is supposedly coming back, so we need some pressure. We cannot let Jefferson do what he does and run great routes. And there's not one DB on our team that I feel can stick with Jefferson outside of Cam Sutton. And I don't think that Cam Sutton can really stick with Jefferson. So they're going to have to double him up either way. And that's what I'm expecting this weekend to see. But I'm hoping that we see the same defense that we just did, real heavy in the box. There were some dime looks that we finally did with DB blitzes, but you kind of lose that DB blitz opportunity when you got a guy like Jefferson on the field. So we'll see what happens. But Malik Reed, check him out, watch some highlights, see what you think. Maybe he's on his way, maybe he's not, but still wanted to talk about him. He's an option. So that's all for me right now. Apologize, it's been a few days, but hey, it's holiday time. My children are here, and that's all I care about right now. So I'm going to focus on family. Hopefully you do too, and get ready for a Merry Christmas and blessed holidays to everybody. So that's all for Rocked On Detroit Lions tonight. Appreciate you guys being the best supporters and sponsors of this channel always. So we'll talk to you later. Go One Pride. Go Detroit Lions. We'll see you. Bye-bye.